Mark Cuban puts Stephen Miller on the spot. Does Donald Trump make products overseas? Yes or no? In tariff debate. Billionaire entrepreneur and Shark Tank star Mark Cuban has never been one to shy away from online battles, and the latest one was with Stephen Miller, a senior advisor to Donald Trump. The two have been sparring on social media about tariffs, American jobs, and where products are made. Cuban, who's been vocal about his opposition to Trump's economic policies, put Miller in the hot seat with a simple question. Does Donald Trump make products overseas? Yes or no? It all started when Cubans took to X, formerly Twitter, to argue that Trump's tariffs, taxes on foreign goods, aren't as helpful as they seem. According to Cuban, tariffs result in higher prices for American consumers and create a bureaucratic nightmare for businesses, especially smaller ones, as companies often need to hire specialists to navigate the complex tariff process, adding unnecessary costs and paperwork. There is a huge difference between targeted and across-the-board tariffs, Cuban explained to his nearly 9 million followers. Across-the-board tariffs are a tax on everyone. Stephen Miller, best known for his hardline stance on immigration, jumped into the debate, accusing Cubans of supporting offshoring, moving jobs and production overseas to keep his profits up. Miller claimed that Trump's tariffs were designed to protect American industries, while accusing Kamala Harris, whom Cubans support, of being more interested in benefiting foreign workers. Cuban wasn't having it. He shot back, reminding Miller that he had worked to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. The first question I always ask is, how can we bring anything you source overseas back to the USA? Cuban wrote. He then asked the question that Miller avoided. Does Donald Trump make products overseas? Yes or no? Miller dodged the question and continued criticizing Cuba's opposition to Trump's China tariffs, claiming Cuba was more interested in importing cheap materials from abroad than restoring American supply chains. However, Cuban stood firm, pointing out that none of the companies he invested in on Shark Tank had moved their production overseas. Cuban also highlighted his investment in WeCultivate.us, a browser extension that helps consumers identify whether a product is made in the U.S., further proving his commitment to American manufacturing. In a separate incident, Miller recently had an on-camera meltdown when pressed by a journalist over false claims about Venezuela's crime rate. During an interview with reporter Jose Maria Del Pino, Miller claimed Venezuela had become safer than the U.S. because, he suggested, its criminals had been sent across the U.S. border. When Del Pino repeatedly questioned Miller on the source of his information, particularly given Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro's unreliable crime statistics, Miller lost his composure, shouting about immigrants committing violent crimes in the U.S. I am trusting the fact that Kamala Harris is letting illegal immigrants into this country who are raping and murdering children, Miller yelled, deflecting from the original question. When the reporter calmly asked Miller why he was yelling and requested clarification on the crime figures, Miller walked off camera without answering.